If the system were to collapse tomorrow, most households wouldn't last more than 3 days. We saw it with the pandemic, blackouts, and natural disasters. Supermarkets are emptied in a matter of hours. At that moment, it's not about being lucky, but about being prepared. That's why more and more families are deciding to set up their own emergency food supply, a realistic, affordable, and well thought out reserve that guarantees food, water, and stability for at least 30 days. Being prepared isn't alarmist, it's common sense. In the next few minutes, you'll see how to plan step by step a food supply capable of sustaining your family for 30 days without depending on anyone. Let's begin. Home as a refuge. In a crisis, the safest place isn't far away, but inside your home. Often, preparedness is associated with adventurers lost in the woods, making a fire and sleeping under a tarp. However, reality shows that most emergencies are overcome by staying home. There, you have shelter, warmth, security, and above all, control. At home, you can maintain a stable temperature, cook with available resources, and organize your water and food supplies. Going out aimlessly, on the other hand, usually exposes you to greater risks and reduces your chances of survival. The first step in creating an emergency pantry is to accept that your home will be the center of your plan. It's not just about storing food, but about ensuring that your home is functional and resilient for weeks. This means checking your power supply, ventilation, security, and hygiene. If the power goes out, have candles or flashlights on hand. If the water stops flowing, have a minimum reserve. Small details make all the difference between chaos and calm. A prepared home isn't a bunker, it's an organized and self-sufficient refuge. Most crises last days, not months, but even a brief disruption can leave a family without the essentials. That's why having an emergency pantry isn't an extravagance. It's an investment in peace of mind. When everything else fails, what you have at home becomes your sustenance, and that self-sufficiency is worth more than anything. Improvisation. Ultimately, preparing from home is a way to prioritize security, stability, and control amidst uncertainty. The importance of planning. An improvised pantry might seem like a good idea, but without planning, it ends up being a chaotic mess of duplicate, expired, or useless products. The most common mistake is stockpiling without thinking. People buy kilos of rice, cans of tuna, and packages of cookies, but no one stops to calculate whether that will cover a family's daily needs for a month. Planning is the step that transforms impulse into strategy. It allows you to know how much you consume, which foods you use most often, and how much variety you need to maintain a balanced diet, even in an emergency. Planning a pantry isn't just about filling shelves. It's about designing a sustainable system. The first step is to define how many people will depend on it and for how long. Then, you estimate portions, organize a simple menu, and make a shopping list based on that menu, not the other way around. With this structure, each food item has a clear function. Duplication is avoided and space is optimized. Furthermore, when everything is calculated, unnecessary spending is reduced and product rotation is better controlled. Another essential point is expiration dates. Without proper management, food can spoil without anyone noticing. That's why each product should have its date clearly visible and be arranged according to its age, always using the oldest first. Good planning also allows you to adjust your pantry to the environmental conditions. If you live in a warm climate, prioritize shelf-stable preserves. If the climate is cold, you can make better use of natural refrigeration. In short, planning is transforming fear into method, disorganization into security, and improvisation into control. Identify real needs. Not all families need the same pantry. Priorities change according to age, health, climate, and the habits of each household. A young couple might focus on quick and energy-rich meals, while a household with young children or older children requires specific foods such as powdered milk, baby food, or soft meals. Identifying real needs prevents wasting money and space on unnecessary products. The key is to adapt the pantry to daily reality, not to generic online lists. The first step is to observe your own consumption. what you eat daily, how many calories each person needs, and which products are most frequently used. From there, you can calculate an appropriate monthly amount. You also have to consider the limitations of your environment. If there is no gas or electricity, it's a good idea to have ready-to-eat canned goods and foods that don't require cooking. Each product should have a clear purpose. Finally, food also serves an emotional function. In stressful moments, something as simple as a coffee or a cookie can make all the difference. The pantry not only nourishes the body, it also sustains the spirit. Realistic planning is that which adapts to the people who will use it, not one that tries to impose an impossible diet. Being prepared means knowing your own needs and anticipating them sensibly. The emergency menu. In an emergency, the menu prioritizes efficiency over culinary pleasure. The key is to conserve energy, maximize resource use, and minimize water, gas, and electricity consumption. A good emergency menu should be simple, repeatable, and balanced. There's no need for complicated recipes. Instead, combine basic foods that complement each other: carbohydrates for energy, proteins for strength, and vitamins to boost the immune system. Planning the menu before shopping prevents waste and helps calculate precisely what's needed each day. The weekly menu becomes the guide for the entire system. It allows you to know how many portions are needed, how long supplies will last, and which products should be replenished first. It also facilitates stock rotation, as frequently used items are naturally replaced. In emergencies, food should prioritize practicality. Meals should require minimal cooking or water and preferably be served in a single pot or pan to avoid waste and minimize cleanup. Every minute and every resource count, and planning saves effort when the situation becomes complicated. Beyond nutritional value, the menu serves a psychological function. Knowing what you'll eat each day reduces stress and provides a sense of control. Amidst the chaos, having a food routine offers stability, which is why it's best not to improvise or make unnecessary changes. Consistency is a form of discipline that helps maintain morale. A well-thought-out emergency menu doesn't aim for luxury, but rather serenity, the certainty that whatever happens, there will always be something nutritious and comforting to put on the table. Pantry organization is key. Order is the foundation of all preparation. A poorly organized pantry can be as useless as having none at all. Ideally, food should be divided into categories so that each group serves a purpose and is easy to locate. This structure facilitates control, restocking, and calculating the duration of supplies. Organization also has a psychological effect, reducing anxiety and conveying a sense of control amidst the chaos. The hydration block should always be easily accessible, followed by those for carbohydrates, regulatory foods, proteins, fats, and finally, any psychological or children's extras. Keeping them separate allows for better monitoring of their rotation and prevents confusion. Each container should be labeled with its contents and expiration date clearly visible. You don't need a huge storeroom. Simply use the available space intelligently. It's also advisable to store products in sturdy, stackable boxes protected from moisture. This keeps the system organized and easy to transport if it ever needs to be moved. A structured pantry isn't just a set of shelves. It's a survival map that transforms improvisation into efficiency and uncertainty into calm. First, hydration. Water is the foundation of all survival. Without it, a person would barely last 3 days. This should be at the top of any emergency supply list. Calculating daily consumption is simple: 3 liters per person per day. For a family of 4, that would be 360 liters per month. However, storing such a large quantity is impractical for most households. Therefore, the key is to find a balance between reserve and replenishment. Having between 50 and 100 liters of bottled or jugged water provides a safe margin while searching for other sources or purifying what is available. Water quality is just as important as quantity. It's not enough to simply store it. It must be kept clean and replaced periodically. It's advisable to have water purification tablets, portable filters, or a little additive-free bleach, which can disinfect the water with a few drops per liter. In case of an emergency, Filling the bathtub, empty bottles, or buckets can be the difference between having resources and relying on luck. Some airtight containers can also serve as makeshift reservoirs if they are kept well sealed and away from direct sunlight. Another aspect to consider is distribution. It's not a good idea to keep all your water in one place. Dividing it into different locations around the house makes it easier to access and reduces the risk of loss if one of them is damaged. Small bottles are also useful for children or for carrying water on short outings. In short, a good hydration strategy combines storage, purification, and organization. Without water, there is no food, no hygiene, and no peace of mind. That's why securing a water supply is the first real step towards self-sufficiency. Second, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the body's primary fuel. In an emergency, their role is vital. They provide immediate energy and help maintain focus, strength, and body temperature. Therefore, this food group should occupy a significant portion of your pantry. Rice, pasta, oats, flour, stale bread, cereals, or dehydrated broths are economical, long-lasting, and easy-to-prepare options. They keep well for months and, with a little water, can be transformed into nutritious meals that sustain life. The whole family. Ideally, calculate between 60 and 80 grams per person per meal. In addition to their energy contribution, carbohydrates offer variety. They can be combined with vegetables, sauces, or proteins and adapted to any menu. In an emergency, monotony is a silent enemy that affects mood. A simple rice with broth or pasta with tomato sauce can make the difference between a sad meal and a comforting one. To enhance the flavor, it's a good idea to include boxed broths, concentrated stock cubes, or basic spices like salt, garlic, or paprika. These small touches add flavor without taking up much space and improve food acceptance among children and adults. Storage is also important. Dry goods should be stored in airtight containers, away from moisture and heat. A failure to seal can ruin several kilos of food. That's why it's helpful to divide supplies into smaller portions so that if one bag is damaged, the rest remain intact. Carbohydrates, besides providing nourishment, promote a feeling of satiety and optimize resources. In any crisis, maintaining stable energy levels is like having a roof over your head, and this is the foundation of the entire food system. 3. Regulatory foods. Regulatory foods are those that keep the body functioning properly. They provide vitamins, minerals, and fiber, essential elements for digestion, energy, and concentration. Without them, the body weakens and mood plummets. That's why this group is indispensable in any pantry. The best options are canned fruits and vegetables, boxed purees, crushed tomatoes, and compotes, which last for months without refrigeration. It's also advisable to include multivitamin supplements, especially if the emergency diet becomes monotonous. A small daily dose can prevent fatigue and keep the immune system active. These foods should be stored in a cool, dry place, away from sunlight, and checked frequently as they don't last forever, even though they can last for years. In difficult times, eating healthy is a luxury, a strategy, maintaining nutritional balance. It helps maintain mental clarity and physical stamina. This section reminds us that survival isn't just about filling your stomach, but about keeping your body and mind in condition to withstand any adversity. Next, protein. Protein is the foundation of the body's strength and recovery. In an emergency, where physical activity may increase and rest decrease, this group becomes essential. Without protein, the body loses muscle mass, the immune system weakens, and fatigue sets in quickly. In the pantry, the most practical sources are canned goods: tuna, sardines, cooked legumes, lentils, chickpeas, beans, or canned sausages. Powdered eggs, cured meat, or vacuum-packed sausages, which last a long time without refrigeration if stored properly, can also be included. One advantage of canned goods in oil is that the oil can be reused for cooking or as an additional source of energy. Legumes also provide carbohydrates and fiber, making them one of the most complete foods for these situations. Although dried legumes are economical, they require more water and cooking time, which can be a problem in a context of scarcity. Therefore, having a combination of both dried and cooked legumes is the best strategy to balance shelf life and practicality. Storage also influences food safety. Proteins should be stored in cool, dry places away from direct sunlight. Checking expiration dates and rotating products ensures that nothing goes to waste. In an emergency menu, it is recommended to include protein in at least one meal a day to maintain vitality. It's not just about eating to fill your stomach, but about nourishing your body so that it continues to function at 100%. Proteins, ultimately, are the silent engine that keeps the body running when everything else stops. 5. Fats and extra energy. Fats are the body's reserve fuel and one of the most concentrated sources of energy. In emergencies, their value increases because they provide satiety, help maintain body temperature, and serve as a boost when carbohydrates are scarce. They also add flavor, which is essential to avoid dietary monotony. A well-stocked pantry should always include vegetable oils, butter, nuts, chocolate, energy bars, and seeds. All of these products keep well, take up little space, and provide quick calories when strength or concentration is needed. Oil is the most versatile item in this group. It can be used for cooking, preserving, and even improvising a lamp in case of a power outage. Nuts, for their part, offer protein, fiber, and healthy fats that support the nervous system and mental performance. A handful a day can compensate for a light meal. It's also advisable to include chocolate, as in addition to providing quick energy, it improves mood and acts as a positive psychological stimulant. In a prolonged situation, maintaining high morale is just as important as filling your stomach. Storing these products is simple if they are kept in airtight containers in a cool place. It's a good idea to check oils regularly to prevent them from going rancid and rotate them frequently. In the case of nuts or chocolate, it's best to store them in small portions to prevent them from spoiling once opened. This section not only provides energy, but also emotional balance. Fats are not a luxury or a treat. They are a vital tool. They nourish the body, calm the mind, and in the toughest moments, remind us that food can also be flavorful. 6. Psychology, children, and extras. During a crisis, the mind suffers as much as the body. Uncertainty, confinement, and routine can affect anyone's mood, especially children's. That's why a section dedicated to psychological well-being in the pantry isn't a treat, but a tool for emotional balance. This group includes comfort foods like cookies, cocoa, honey, candies, chocolate milk, or candy bars, small pleasures that help us cope with difficult days and provide a sense of security, a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. A gesture as simple as offering a treat can ease tension and maintain family calm. For the youngest members of the family, these details are even more important. Children perceive and reflect the anxiety of adults. Having their usual products on hand, from infant cereals to powdered milk or baby food, prevents abrupt changes in their diet and reduces their stress. Relaxing drinks or herbal teas can also be included for the adults because the morale of the elders is the pillar of the group. Eating something familiar, even if simple, reinforces the idea of security and continuity. In a hostile environment, the mind needs fuel as much as the body. This supply can also include other non-food items that contribute to well-being, such as board games, cards, or a light book. In a prolonged emergency, distraction is a way to cope. Ultimately, the psychological pantry fulfills the mission of protecting the invisible, emotional stability. A calm family makes better decisions and uses resources more efficiently. Feeding the mind is as vital as filling the stomach because when everything seems to be falling apart, high morale is the ingredient that keeps hope alive and the ability to carry on. Rotation and inventory. An emergency pantry only works if it's kept moving. Storing food for years is useless if it's expired or spoiled when you need it. Rotation is key. The rule is simple: first in, first out. Each product should be consumed before it expires and replaced with the same item when you do your regular shopping. This way, the pantry is constantly replenished and always ready without extra expense or waste. Inventory is the map that allows you to maintain control. You don't need a complex system. A sheet of paper or a digital document is enough if it's updated regularly. Make a note of every time you use a product. Checking the dates once a month prevents surprises and allows you to restock on time. Label containers with a marker indicating the expiration month. It simplifies visual control and reduces errors. Organization depends not on quantity, but on discipline. Furthermore, rotating products teaches people to use them naturally. By incorporating pantry staples into daily meals, the family becomes accustomed to them and learns to cook them in different ways. Thus, in a real-life situation, there will be no improvisation or waste. Rotating keeps preparations alive, ensuring that each food item serves its purpose. The pantry ceases to be a passive storage space and becomes a dynamic, useful, and always up-to-date system, ready when truly needed. Common mistakes. When setting up an emergency pantry, many repeat the same errors. The first is buying without a plan. Carts are filled with random products without calculating quantities or expiration dates. The result, wasted money and forgotten food. The second mistake is storing things that no one eats. If the family can't stand instant soups or dried legumes, there's no point in stocking up on them. The pantry should adapt to the household's actual habits, not to generic lists or current trends. Another common mistake is neglecting the storage conditions. In hot or humid climates, food spoils quickly if it's not properly sealed. It's also common not to check expiration dates frequently, which can turn the pantry into a pile of unusable food. Checking, rotating, and labeling are just as important as buying. Finally, it's crucial to understand that preparation is never ending. It's not about making a big purchase once, but about maintaining a dynamic, up-to-date, and efficient system. Preparing isn't about stockpiling out of fear, but about organizing strategically. Avoiding these mistakes transforms a pantry from a simple storage area into a true tool for security and stability. Maintenance and costs. Maintenance is what makes a pantry a reliable tool. It's not about filling shelves once, but about caring for a system that must remain operational over time. Checking, replenishing, and adjusting stock every month or two is essential, enough to maintain balance. This routine keeps food fresh, prevents waste, and ensures nothing gets forgotten at the bottom of a box. Preparation thus becomes part of daily life, effortless and without improvisation. As for cost, creating and maintaining a basic pantry is more affordable than it seems. With around $300 worth of non-perishable food and about $100 for containers or shelving, a family of 4 can cover their needs for a whole month. It's not a luxury, it's an investment in security and stability. Furthermore, many of the products are part of the household's regular consumption, so they are replenished without extra expense. Planning, taking advantage of sales, and avoiding duplicates keeps the budget under control. Maintenance also has psychological value. Knowing that the home is prepared brings calm and confidence. It allows you to react to unforeseen events without fear and with room to make decisions. A well-stocked pantry reflects discipline and foresight, qualities that go beyond the material. Preparing isn't about accumulating, it's about keeping in order what protects the family. Consistency is the true strength of the system, the security of knowing that whatever happens, the essentials will always be within reach, the peace of mind of having a plan. Preparing isn't about fear, it's about anticipating. An organized pantry represents more than just food. It symbolizes control, serenity, and responsibility. It's not about stockpiling out of fear, but about building a solid foundation that allows you to face any unforeseen event calmly. Every can, every liter of water, and every monthly check is an act of foresight and care. True preparation doesn't seek disaster, it seeks peace of mind. Because when everything seems uncertain, having a plan and the necessary resources transforms a crisis into something manageable and a home into a safe haven.